Imagine your total goods cost $100 and you are sourcing your product from the Chinese supplier and you are importing it to the government of the US. So the total goods cost are $100 and you will pay an extra $100 to the government of the US. Does it imagination or it's a reality? Yes, and absolutely a reality. You will pay an extra $100 with to the government of the US. Like if your product's sourcing price is $10, then you have to pay an extra $10 to the government of the US without any shipping cost. So it's gonna be very insane. I'm talking about the US tariffs that now Trump has imposed on the government of the Chinese. That if you are sourcing your products from the Chinese supplier like from Alibaba and you are importing it to the US, or if you are selling on Amazon or you are selling on any platform, but if you source your product from Chinese supplier and you are imported to the government to the US, then you have to pay an extra 100% and 404% tariffs to the government of the US. So the Trump has imposed the tariffs on the importer if you import the product to the US. But not at all. The China has heads it back to the on the US that they have applied 84% tariff on the government of the US. But like if you are sourcing the product from the USA and you are importing to the China, then you have to pay an 84% tariff to the government of the China. So when one country applies the taxes on the second country, then the second country also imposes the taxes on that country. So it's going to be a global trading war. Therefore, we have to understand what is global trade war. In global trade war, I will simply understand you that global trade war is just like a fighting. When one country applied the taxes on another country, then that country applied heads back taxes. For example, the China has applied 84% tariff and the US has applied a 104% tariffs on the government of the Chinese. So at the back, the China has also applied 84% tariff on the government of the US. So it's going to be a global trade war. Like one country applied a trade taxes on the second country. So it's not like using a weapons on like a fighting. It's a fighting of trading. It's a fighting of taxes. So it's going to be very, very challenging for those who are selling the products in the US and for those who are selling the product in China. For those who are sourcing his products from the US, from the Chinese to the gold and selling that in the US, and for those who are sourcing his product from the US. For example, like US has applied the tariffs on all the countries, but in the China and US it's going to be very, very challenging, and it's going to be very, very challenging for the all sellers who are doing trades in these countries. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna break down the whole scenario and the whole drama that what's going on in the world and between the US and the other countries. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna break down the whole drama into a simple word. So stay tuned with us and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the tariffs in the comment section, and make sure you like the video and share it with your friends. So first of all, we have to understand that what is a tariffs. Tariffs is a fancy word which is using for an extra tax, which if you are importing the goods from one country to another country. Like I will give you a simple example that you will understand in a very simple word. So if you are sourcing the product from the China to the US, then the government of the US will collect some extra charges, like some extra tax from you if you are importing from the other country. So if your total cost of product is $10, then if you have to pay a 10% tariff, then the total tariffs is going to be $1. Let me understand you again. If your total product cost is $10 and you have to pay a 10% tariffs to the government of the US, but now Trump has applied a 104% tariffs on those who are importing the goods from anywhere of the country, and specifically from the Chinese, then they have to pay a 104% tariff on these goods. So this tariff is going to be very insane, and it is going to be very unacceptable for those sellers who are importing and for those who are sourcing their product from the China for the decades. So it's going to be very challenging and unacceptable. That's why I'm gonna break down in the next few minutes the solution, what the solution and how we will handle that if you are Amazon seller or also if you are an other marketplace seller. So if your total product cost is $10 with the shipping, then you have to pay an extra $10 to the government of the US. So it's going to be very scary for those sellers who are competing with their competitor and the market very hardly. So if you pay same cost with the sourcing price to the government of the US, then it's going to be very challenging, and a lot of businesses can going to be flat, and it will be very horrible for those sellers, with those who are competing hardly with their competitor and they are managing and they who have a little bit, and horrible for those sellers who have a low ticket product. For example, your total product cost is $1 and you have to pay an extra $2 and you have to pay an extra $1 to the government of the US, and you are getting a $1 profit margin in your product, then it's going to be very challenging for you to compete your competitor, to compete your other competitor, to compete in your category. So this is going to be very challenging for you and me, not for those who are trading internationally. Like, for example, you are an Amazon seller and you are getting $2 or $3 per margin in your product. So like me, you should also thinking that why the Trump is imposing that high tariffs of 104% on the government of the China. So let me break down into a simple word, then we will go to the solution. The Trump is imposing a 104% tariffs on the government of the China because the China has becoming a very cheap prices. So like me, you should also thinking that why Trump is imposing the 104% tariff on the government of the China. So it's like a very challenging for those who are an US manufacturer. For example, let me understand you in a simple words. For example, if you are going to manufacture your own brand, then you and your mind should be, so if you are going to manufacture your own brand, then in your mind first come the China, that you should go to the China or you should contact with the Chinese supplier and you will manufacture your product from the Chinese supplier because of the cheaper price, because the manufacturer or the ingredient price are very cheaper than the US, than other countries. So that's why the Chinese sellers or the Chinese manufacturer are hurting the US seller very badly. So the Trump, when the Trump get his shares, then he completely decided that he is going to be imply a very high tariffs on all the countries, but except the China, that he is going to impose a very high tariffs on that country, because the Chinese suppliers are hurting the US manufacturer, the US jobs, factory, the US all jobs, because the Chinese manufacturer are going to hurting the US factories very badly. That's why Trump has decided to impose the tariffs more than the other countries on China. That's why the China has also imposed an 84% tariff on the government of the US, and it's also going to be very high right now, because I have seen the news right now that Trump is going to be increase the tariffs in the next few days to 125%. So it's going to be a very high and huge global trade war. So in general, if you are sourcing your product from the China or from Alibaba, then your product cost is going to be very big. So instead of you have to instead of purchasing or cost, so if you are sourcing your product from the China or even from Alibaba and either from the Chinese supplier, then your products cost is going to be very high. So instead of buying from Alibaba or from Chinese supplier, you have to find the US supplier, distributor or wholesaler or manufacturer in the US, because you will have to not pay the duties pay of 104%. For example, if your product cost is $5 in from the China or from the Chinese supplier, even either from Alibaba or either from AliExpress, from everyone. I'm not talking about one supplier. So if your product cost is $5 and your shipping cost is $2 or $3 and you have to pay 104% tariffs to the government of the US, then your total product cost is going to be $12. So instead of sourcing that product from the China, you have to find that manufacturers in the US, and you will have to find another way. I'm also giving you another trick. If you are contacting with Alibaba suppliers or any Chinese supplier, then tell them that we will need the products in the USA warehouse. Like a lot of Chinese manufacturers have own warehouse in the USA. So if they have a warehouse in the USA, then you will have to not pay their tariffs are to the government of the US, then your product price will be cheaper than your competitor, and might in the future your competitor will do the same. So if you are sourcing from the Chinese, from the USA supplier, if they are Chinese or either even if they are based in the USA, then your product cost would be very cheaper than the Alibaba suppliers. If they are shipping, they are shipped into the US, and when the US government will apply 104% tariff, then your product cost will be going to be very high. If you are searching your product, your keyword on Alibaba, then don't rely on that their prices are $2. Like after that, you will also add shipping cost. After that, also the government of the US will apply a 104% tariffs. Then don't trust on that. You will have to calculate each and everything, and then after that you can decide that from either from Alibaba or from USA you can source your products. So if your sourcing cost is $12 for your web per one unit, and if you are sourcing that product from the manufacturer of the USA, then it would be very cheaper than that. For example, the manufacturing cost is $8, and it will be shipped out from the manufacturer your warehouse to the Amazon warehouse or your web center. It would be charged like $1 or $1.5. If you are thinking that the ingredient costs are very expensive in the USA, so don't think about that, because in the Chinese they are cheaper than the USA supplier, but they have to you have to pay a 104% tariff to the US of the government, so it's going to be very high. So that's why we are preferring that you have to manufacture your product from the USA supplier, then that would be best by you, instead of you are going to the Alibaba and you are searching for the product. After that you have to talk with them, you have to include the shipping cost. After that you have to pay the Amazon fees. After that, if you are applying a 104% tariff to that product, then that's going to be very insane, and it's going to be very challenging for you that you compete your competitor. If instead your competitor is sourcing that product from the USA supplier, like if that competitor is sourcing that product from $9 and you are sourcing the same product from the Alibaba by $13, then it's going to be very challenging for you to compete that competitor. Additionally, you don't guess that the all product cost and the tariffs would be same. Originally, if you are sourcing that product from the Alibaba, then first talk with Alibaba supplier. After that, if your product are in the category of batteries, like in batteries and electronics and in furniture category, then you are going to be very high tariff. But if they are in other categories, then I think that would be like less than that categories. So when you are sourcing that product from the Chinese supplier, from Alibaba supplier, from AliExpress, or even either from every supplier, then must ask them to provide your product HS code. The HS code is harmonized system code. That code is the product code which manufacturer provide you. Then you can check that in the US Trade International website, or also you can discuss it with your freight forwarder. Then they can provide you the actual tariffs that the US government will collect from you. So don't guess from your side that you will have to collect, the US government will collect from you $10 by costing for the $10 product, or the US government will cost a $5. Don't guess from your side. Must contact with your freight forwarder. Also get a product HS code from your supplier, from your manufacturer, and that code applied, and that could enter into that website that I have provided you, and then search for the tariff. Then you will understand the total cost of the product. Then calculate it on Amazon FBA revenue calculator. Then you will understand the whole calculation process, and you will understand if there are any profit margin. Then you will understand it. Okay, at the last, we are going to the final solution, that what is the solution and how we can get it. For example, I already told you that if you are sourcing from the US supplier, then it would be best for you instead of buying from Alibaba supplier. Also, I'm giving you some countries like India, Vietnam, Mexico, and Canada, that you can source your product. You can find the best supplier even from Alibaba, and you can source your product from there. Because if the US government is collecting a 104% tariff from the Chinese goods on the Chinese good, then instead of doing that, you can source your product from Vietnam, from the India, from the Mexico, from the Canada, and also you can source your product from Pakistan. That there are 34% tariff, and I think 29% tariff. Instead of, you can source your product from Pakistan. If you are another country, then you can source your product from your own country. That would be good. Also, there are a lot of suppliers. Currently, we are sourcing that product from the Vietnam, from the India, from the Canada, from the Mexico, and they are shipping into the USA, and they are not crazy tariffs on that country. So you will make a good profit margin instead, and you can compete your competitor easily. So I'm giving you a short tip that instead of doing private label, if you have a good investment, you can start your own wholesale account, and you can do a wholesale business in the USA, which is going to be very, very good. And right now we are currently working on 70% on the wholesale, and we are managing multiple accounts and getting a lot of profit from our products. And we are directly working with the manufacturer, also with the authentic distributor, and we are getting just a product from them. First we get approval from them. After that, we purchase some units from them, like if they have an MOQ. After that, we get an invoice from them. We upload that to Amazon, and we sell their product. Like they have established brand on Amazon, and we sell them directly. We don't need any advertisement. We don't need any PPC. We just find the winning product that have the brand should not sell in that product. Also, the Amazon should not sell in that product. Then we source that product from the authentic distributor or from the brand, and we sell that on our account. So there is no issue, and there is no tariffs. There is no competition. There is no competitor. You have just to compete with your sellers. Like if you meet to end the product and you have a pipe seller in that listing, then you have just to compete with them, and you can compete them with just part the 5 or 10 cent. Then you can get the buy box. So the wholesale is going to be very, very interesting, and is going to be very, very profitable in this modern time. Instead, if you are stuck with the Chinese supplier and you want to continue your private label, or you want to launch your own private label from now, if you are new, then I'm giving you a short tips that it can help you in the future. And that tips it will be, for example, you are working in a kitchen and dining category, then you have to launch that product which should be unique in that category. Like you are going to be list a spoon, then you should have to understand the whole category, the whole competitor. After that, you can list that product. After that, analyzing the whole competitor, you can list that product, the same spoon, but you have to make that unique. If you have a unique product, then if the all sellers are the average price for the all seller would is, for example, is $20, then you can manage, you can list your product by $25, by $30, but your product should be unique. If your product have a uniqueness, then all the customers can buy from you. Also, you have to work on your review. Also, you work on your images, your listing, also on your bullet points. Then when the customer know your product, then they come automatically to your product. They save your SN in your phone. Like the US customer, we have known that they save the same SN too, and when they need that product, they simply goes to the Amazon website and they search that and they get that product. But first of all, for that you have to make your product and we have to, but for that you have to level up your brand, you have to level up your product, you have to level up your reviews, you have to level up your listing, and that level then they can get your product easily, and that would be that called a loyal customer. And it will be happen if when your listing and your images and you get a lot of reviews, 1,000 of reviews. You cannot do that in simple with 200 or 300 or 500 you can do that if you have, when you have a trusted name in the market, like Adobe, Adidas or CeraVe brand they have in the market. Also, in the last, I'm giving you a short tip that if you are new and you are going to launch your own private label, then try to list or launch that product, that should not be a low ticket product and that should be a high ticket product. A high ticket product means it should be above from the $20. Then it can be going to be very profitable for you. If you are going to list that product that as low ticket product, then it should be you can lose your money in the future, and then because that's a trend war is going to be very insane. It is going to be very insane for those sellers and challenging for those sellers who are sourcing their product from the other countries to the US. Then it's a challenging for those sellers who are importing from there, not for those who are sourcing their product from the USA. So we are going to finish this video, but at the end I will give you a tips that this trade war is going to be very real, and you have to understand it. Be a smart, be source your product from that you should have a less tariffs, either from even country, either they are from Pakistan, India, Vietnam, Mexico, Canada, they are from China. But if you are getting a good profit margin, then it would be good for you, because this trade war is going to kill your profit margin very badly, and might in near future, if this tariff is still applied on the seller in the next few months, then a lot of Amazon seller could be in loss. If you find this video helpful and you get some solution and you get some new tips, then also drop your comment in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe our channel, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to share it with your friends. Also, if you have any question, drop your comment in the comment section.